All right, so walk me through that. As somebody that's gone through so much, how do you even go through the process of deciding to write this book?
It was it was an interesting set of circumstances, really, Jason, because we got a lot of dynamics going on in the family, and ESPN back in the day. Jeremy Schaap decided he wanted to do a story on our family, and that was pretty strange for a guy from ESPN to want to do a story on a guy from TNT. But everybody said, "Okay, let's do it." And so once that story aired, then it was like people were asking me and my agent were like, "Hey, is he written a book? Is he going to write a book?" And that kind of thing. And so then that's where it took off. And it's been unbelievable. I mean, the whole process of writing a book is really cathartic. It's really tough. But ultimately so satisfying. And to have people still to this day, because this was back in 17 that I wrote it, but people still to this day sending me copies of the book for me to sign and bringing it up out of the blue and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's very cool. And I appreciate you bringing it up too.
Very cool for people who are fans of you and fans of the show to kind of get a peek behind the curtain of what life is like for Ernie Johnson. And we see what you've done in your career. You have such a historic and storied career. But what about Ernie Johnson, the person? Outside of work, outside of TV, outside of, Shaq and Chuck going at each other on TV, what fills up your cup?
It's I've always told folks that this TV job is not it's what I do, but it's not who I am, and I just think it's always important to remember that you can't just be defined by oh yeah, you're the TNT guy, oh you're the guy who stands next to Shaq. That's my job. But look, married to Cheryl Ann for 43 years, 6 kids, 5 grandkids, um, and had dealt with the loss of a child at 30, when he was 33, which was and continues to be a very difficult thing for me. But yeah, that's the real life stuff. And so we're just trying to, live in the moment, take every day, enjoy it for what it's worth, be very thankful for the job that I have, obviously. I mean, that's a get-to job. But at the same time, remembering what's truly important.
We have been able to watch inside the NBA since 1990, right? And so obviously
Yeah.
it's an
Make me
institution.
feel a little
It's
older, Jason, will you please?
hey, hey, come on now. Like this is part of all of our lives, right? But people were freaking out, to be honest, when everybody knew it was moving from TNT to ESPN. So for you, through that transition, how different has it felt?
Amazingly, it hasn't felt really different at all. I mean, I think the thing that I had to concentrate the most on was not saying TNT, saying, "Oh, okay, this is on ESPN." But the fact that we're all still together, that the production crew's the same, that the camera folks are the same, that the building is the same, and thankfully, look, ESPN's been great to work with. They really have. And I know there were concerns last year when we knew this was going to happen. Hey, are they going to take the show over and make it something that it shouldn't be? But they have stayed arm's distance. They're there when we're doing the show. Their executives are there, a couple at least. And it's like they're just like, it's great watching what you guys do. And their stance has been, look, we know what the show has been and what it's meant to basketball fans. We're just glad we can continue it on this platform with you guys still together. And I'm thankful for that too. Just to hang out with those clowns is really fun. And when you're together that long, it's just I, I it's been weird. There are a couple of times where I thought, what if this had ended? I said, I mean, that would have been an empty feeling going into this basketball season, just watching games and not having any stake in it. But no, it's great that we're back and things haven't changed a bit.
And I think there were a lot of fans of the show that were concerned with that potential reality as well, because there's a reason why this show has been on for so long. And it's all those great moments, Shaq questioning what's closer to Atlanta, LA, or the moon, or Chuck washing his jersey in the shower, or,
Yeah.
the gas prices, so many just classic moments that have become viral moments throughout the years. But what is your favorite inside the NBA memory?
Caroline, you just brought up a few of them right there, that's for sure. But that's what's made the show so much fun. It's a basketball show that every now and then touches on basketball, but sometimes does touch on the fact that I can look outside and see the moon, but I can't see LA, so the moon must be closer. That's it's that kind of stuff. Yeah, the diaper changing contest with the Chuckster was big. I think renaming the studio the Champions Club so Chuck couldn't get in one night was great. The Kobe Bryant new shoes Kenny takeoff when he wanted to duplicate Kobe's uh, jumping over the Aston Martin. That I think I would recommend if somebody's on YouTube or something, just find that because start to finish, it was hilarious. And the fact that Kobe had a huge playoff game that night and joined us live and watched it for the first time, just like we did, just made it really special.
How have you guys managed to manage ego? And I don't mean ego is a bad word, Ernie. I think a lot of times people say ego is a negative thing. I think when you've accomplished what Chuck and Charles and you and everybody on that show has accomplished, how do you manage to grow together, but also respect the fact that those guys played so much in the league and had such Hall of Fame caliber careers, and you're also superstars? How do you keep everybody gelled together and humble in that situation?
Um, well, I think viewers would probably say, well, he doesn't always. And so I think that every show is somewhere between a disaster and a walk on the beach. We kind of walk that line. Um, but I think the thing that hasn't changed through all of this is the respect we have for one another. And it's going to sound really corny. We love each other. We would do anything for the other one. And so when you're together that long, and Kenny and Chuck and I better than 20 years, Shaq for the last 13, we just have something there that I think we're all appreciative of the job. We all come at the game from different angles. I'm never going to try to take the standpoint as a former player. I got three of those guys right there. I'm just trying to get them to where they're going to shine. So um, give everybody their touches, challenge them when they say something bizarre, and I think the unpredictable nature of that show is what has attracted fans. If they don't know what's going to happen next, neither do I. So I think that's what's done it. So there's really not any managing of egos. It's just kind of like, look, all you guys have wonderful credentials, and let's just tap into your knowledge of the game or your knowledge of gas prices or the distance to the moon.
Has there been a time though where maybe they pushed a little too hard? Like, let's be honest, Ernie. Has there been a time where your co-host just flat out pissed you off? Like, we could take any advice here as co-host. So, like, has there been a time where maybe afterwards it bubbled over a little bit?
Chuck dared Kenny to rip up my format for the post-game show one night. I jot down some things on an index card, on one of those big index cards, and it's kind of my roadmap to the show. And I might jot a couple of notes down in there. And Chuck in the commercial break looked at Kenny and says, "I dare you to tear those up." And we were on the road doing the show, and Kenny reached over, ripped them up, and that pissed me off pretty good. And so I think that was one of those things where it's like, look, we have built this show on respect, and that was a moment where, and I was serious, that's a moment you disrespected the job I do. And it hasn't happened since. Because I was ready to throw coffee across the table at that dude.
Mm.
As an obsessive note taker in the middle of shows, I feel you on that one. But you mentioned how Shaq was an addition later on into the show's tenure. And at the time when Shaq was an addition, I think there was some pushback from a lot of fans of, why mess with a good thing? Is Shaq going to be a good fit with everyone? Is the chemistry going to work? When was the moment when you knew, oh, no, 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 Shaq is a good addition to the show and this will work?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Caroline, it took a little while. Nobody's going to jump right into a situation like this with three guys who have been together for so long and automatically uh, click. And so that wasn't a surprise to me. Um, I just think he needed to get a feel for the show aside from the fact that he could have a lot of fun. I think that's what attracted him to TNT in the first place, is that he'd been watching the show for so long and knew some of the zaniness that went on in our show that he wanted to be a part of it. And look, he'll always be the world's biggest 14-year-old, okay? Guy loves to have a good time, loves to get a billion hits. Um, and so once he figured out that, you know what, there is some basketball analysis to do to jump into this, and there is some discussion to be had with Chuck and Kenny, then it's all been fine. I mean, it's hard to remember a time we didn't have the big fella. So yeah, there are always going to be some growing pains, and this was no exception. But the dude is just there. He's got a heart of gold. He's a wonderful guy to be around, and we go back a long, long, long way to back then when he was you know, at LSU and was. I remember going to San Antonio and interviewing him and his family before the draft, and he always brings that up. He says, "You and I go back to 1989." It was actually like 91 or 92, but I'm not going to mess with the narrative. But yeah, so I have for a long time respected him and cannot enjoy any more having a guy like that on the set with us.
When you talk about analysts and analysis, Ernie, so many young fans, particularly right now, that love ball in general, want more X's and O's, less hot takes, less opinion, more and analysis of what they're actually seeing. For you guys as a show, how do you find the line between giving people X's and O's and just giving people entertainment?
I think there's a mix in there. I think it was established many years ago when, I mean, look, Chuck changed the landscape of these studio shows, and and he was not shy about saying, "Man, that game was terrible. I don't even want to talk about it." And he would talk about something else, and so that allowed us to like go outside the boundaries and talk about whatever was going on in the world. And I just think we're all old school enough to realize that we don't need to come on and say something that's going to get everybody wagging. Sometimes it's going to happen. And sometimes Chuck and Shaq are going to say something, but it's not like this need or this desire to, oh, I'm going to give this hot take and see what people say. I get I have tired of that. And I that's why I can't just sit and listen to sports talk. Drives me crazy. Um, if there's good discussion going on, that's fine. But just to get on and shout something out and see what kind of reaction it gets, I'm not a fan.
I think what resonates so much for fans with your show is just the earnestness of it all. The fact that it is just your
Oh, I see what
genuine
you did there.
personalities.
Uh-huh.
You like that?
Mhm.
You like
Yeah,
that? That wasn't
yeah,
even intentional, but I'll take
yeah.
credit for it being
That that's
intentional.
that's like our
Um,
show. A lot of times what we do is unintentional, and that's what gets people talking. But go ahead.
I'll
I
take credit
interrupted
for it
you.
regardless.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Good point there. I'm glad you pointed that out. But I think so many people watching your show feel like they know you all, feel like they might just be pulling up a chair to your table and just enjoying the conversation. But what is maybe something about the crew or about the Chuckster, as you call him, that maybe some people might not know?
Um, well, I mean, look, Chuck is neck deep into all sports. He will he will stun you every now and then when you're just talking, and he knows how an NHL series is standing and who scored and all this, and then it's like, and hey, I saw so and so won at the French Open. It's like he follows all that stuff like crazy. Um, and he's also a neat freak. And if I ever feel like I need to just, you know, I don't know, get under his skin a little bit, when he steps away from the green room, I might ground up a handful of potato chips and put them on his desk just to see his reaction when he gets back. But he is so into, and I am too. I love a neat office and everything else, but this dude he'll just go to Target and places and see what's new in the cleaning department, and then show up with his Target bag and some new cleanser, that he wants to try out. So, but everything else, I mean, we've been around enough that you pretty much know me and Shaq and Kenny and Chuck just from watching the show. And I think the folks that you see on TV nightly, that's basically who we are in real life. And I learned that from my dad. My dad was a broadcaster forever, and he always just told me, be yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. And I think, folks used to come up to me and say, man, I heard your dad last night on the Braves game, and then I saw him today at the drugstore. He sounds just like he does when he's doing the game. And because he was genuine and natural and not trying to put on any kind of an act because he was on TV or radio.
All right, so obviously you're wearing a Georgia hoodie as you hang out with us. We all know that this is a part of your life. There we go. You busted that out during your appearance, college game day. You were out there. You nailed the prediction on this. So talk to me a little bit. What was it like just being on that game day set and that experience for you?
It was tremendous. It really was. And because I've watched it forever and really like those guys. It's fun to watch them, and the show is as entertaining as anything gets. If there's yearly, if we're gonna, we're up against these guys a lot of times for show Emmys and that kind of thing. I never mind losing to those dudes because I think they're great. But to go down there and see what an undertaking it is to have that show on. I mean, they've got a legion of people involved. And I've known Coach Saban, I know Herbie and Reese, and I knew Desmond a little bit, but yeah, to sit there and do that. And I tried to bring something to every game that we were going to do. And so then I tried to sucker my Georgia fans into it. I said, look, I went to Georgia and everything else. I said, but man, I see a late Alabama touchdown in that game, cutting the deficit to 17. As it turns out, it cut it to 14. So I was sitting at home saying, man, if I nail this thing, that's going to be amazing. But it came pretty close.
Oh, it's incredible stuff. Go ahead, Caroline. Sorry.
Yeah, last one for you. I have been saying, Ernie, I just might think Curt Cignetti has taken Kirby Smart's throne as the best coach in college football. What do you have to say about that?
No, really, what's your question?
Google him, Ernie. He wins.
Hey, you know what? You know what's crazy too? Adam Lefkoe, who does our TNT studio stuff.
Yeah, of course.
He texted me the other day. He said, "I'm getting some Ernie Johnson vibes when I see Curt Cignetti." And I said, "You're not the first one to say it. I guess there might be a little bit of a resemblance there. I don't know, but no, he did such an amazing job with that team, and what a wonderful story it is. It's just you love seeing that, and I would have loved seeing Georgia play Miami with a chance to go to the championship game, but that didn't happen. But the playoff was awesome, and to see what Coach did with those Hoosiers, and to bring a football championship to that basketball crazy state, that's a great story. I don't care who you're pulling for. That's a heck of a story.
Ernie, I can tell you for sure you smile a heck of a lot more than Coach does. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you hanging out. Mostly, we appreciate your work. I just for a second, for all of us that get to watch what you do, we're thankful for it. That show has become so iconic for a reason. You're iconic for a reason. We just appreciate your time, and we appreciate your gift and all that you've given us with Inside the NBA. Thanks for hanging out with us.
No, it's very kind of you. Caroline, thanks a lot. Jason, thank you very much. And
Thank you,
one of
Ernie.
these days I need to interview you because I think your story is unbelievable. I'd love to sit around and just talk music with you. So
It'd be
thanks for
it'd be
having
my
me
honor.
on.